What the fuck you bet?
We're going to talk about Anto Shirts today predominantly. And
Yes.
what's interesting about Anto Shirts for me is that I've come across them each time I kind of review a film or do a bit of research. I'll go down a few rabbit holes, and there always seems to be a shirt by Anto at the end of it. So Anto featured heavily in Ocean's 11, or was it all the Ocean's?
Yeah, all the Ocean's films, all the male-centered ones, 11, 12, and 13. Yeah.
Right. Maybe you can just give us a brief history of what you know. So give us a flavor of Anto Shirts for people that haven't heard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, well, let me start with my own history on them. I first discovered that Anto had made shirts for Ocean's 11 probably about 6 months after the movie came out. There's an article in GQ or Esquire, um, back when people read physical magazines, and it was so many people had requested to know where some of the clothes had come from. And all the shirts on the stars, from Clooney, Pitt, Elliot Gould, Andy Garcia, you name them, they were all made by Anto Bespoke. And Anto, so to give you a bigger history, Anto, like you said, has made shirts for Hollywood for many decades now. Anto Sepetchian, I'm just going to refer to him as Anto because of the difficulty of that name. Anto started the business in his native Lebanon in Beirut in 1955, but he brought it over to California in 1976. And since then, he's been shirt maker to the stars, Hollywood executives, you name it. One of his biggest clients throughout the years have been Robert Redford. Basically, anytime you see Redford in a shirt, from maybe the late 70s onward, it was made by Anto. And they just have a huge client base of A-listers. I can go through films and people if you like, but it's
Yeah.
some of these are showstoppers.
Well, it's sorry to cut you off there. It's interesting. I went onto their website just before we turned the mics on, and the film and television tab sends you to an error code, which is really.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
looked at
well,
the
this is like surely. I mean, maybe not, but surely how internationals have heard of Anto that aren't indigenous to Sherman Oaks, right?
Yeah, I think the page actually got so full of information and photos that it overloaded, so they had to take it down.
Like it. That's what I tell people when my website goes down. Oh, there's just too many people on the site at one time. So maybe we could. So that's a nice little backstory. But then the sons have taken it over.
Oh yeah,
right?
sure. So like I said, Anto founded the business in 1955, and he's obviously no longer with us. But his sons Jack and Ken came into the business in 1983, and they still run it to this day. So Jack, I know, is CFO, but he's also the main person you deal with for measurements and styling, and really just ordering. Ken really runs the kind of production facility. The physical making of the shirts, it all kind of runs under him. Everything they do is in California as well. So they have a showroom in Beverly Hills, maybe about 1,000 square feet. It's kind of a standard storefront, where they have thousands and thousands of fabrics. And Jack is there most days. He knows all of them off the top of his head. He can find them. But their production facility is in Sherman Oaks, and it's this old bank building. It used to be a Wells Fargo bank, I believe. It's multiple levels. It's huge, open air. A lot of folks at sewing machines actually making the product right there. But the most impressive thing about it is they left the old bank vault. And like I said, they've been making shirts for decades for Hollywood, but they've also, I think it was in the 80s, they acquired Natwise. Natwise it was another even older Hollywood shirt maker. They made Cary Grant's shirt, North by Northwest. They made shirts for the Rat Pack, for all of them, Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. They had a very storied history. But they basically were merged into Anto. They were going out of business in the 80s. And so all of those records exist in the vault as well.
Right.
And it's one of those real, round door, walk in.
Nice.
Also, stacked with bookcases filled with these like manila envelopes. And they'll say, Michael Douglas or Brad Pitt or Bradley Cooper or, whoever.
Cool. Have you been in there?
I have. It's not it's something you do by kind of special arrangement. You know, you like if you're gonna start out buying from them, just go to the Beverly Hills showroom. That's where you can get served, and they've got photos and they've got records, and you can find what you need. But if you've been a client for a little while and you're very curious, yeah, they can show you around.
You know what would have been cool? What I would have done if I was looking after Anto, I would have said, "Come on down, Ken. Come into the vault. That's fine." And then when you're in the vault, I would have had like a Chinese contortionist come out of a little box and I do a backflip.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, ocean's cool. Nice. Well, perhaps you can just talk about your own personal experience. As a bespoke customer, you've had shirts from these guys before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've been a Bespoke customer for a few orders for a little while now, and because of my obsession with the Ocean's films, I started with Clooney shirts from Ocean's 11, and then kind of branched out from there. And what I was amazed by is that, like I said, they have all these records, but they're not just measurements and like fabric numbers. Every time they make an order, they'll cut a swatch off the fabric bolt and tape it on.
Right.
So there's a visual record of everything they've made forever. So they have the order sheet with with the measurements and all that. That's not that interesting. But then when you get to the individual fabrics and all that, you really have this wonderful record there. And when I was trying to replicate some of these shirts, even in Beverly Hills, I said what I was looking for. They send a guy into the vault. They take some photographs. They send them back to Jack, who runs the business, and he immediately recognized all of them. And he's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, this one hasn't been made since like 2004. This one we still have. This I can find. This one we have on special order, but I can get it for you."
What's
Um,
special order?
Basically, bolts they don't just have like on the rack. Like they don't have it right there,
Uh-huh.
but they know it's still made, so they can get it.
They can get hold of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And it's pretty wild. Like they have over 10,000 fabrics, I assume, mostly cotton, silks, anything. Oh, and ties too. I forgot about ties. They make, again, the North by Northwest. That tie is also from Nat Wise. It's also it's also the Anto records.
Right.
But yeah, and they can do the coordination, all that kind of stuff. So
That's fascinating. And so how many shirts are you allowed to have on a bespoke order?
oh, as
The
many as you
minimum.
like. You
No,
have to have,
sorry, yeah, sorry, the minimum.
yeah.
I should say.
The minimum is four.
Hmm.
And I'll admit they are pricey. It's $375 per shirt. That's where they start. And I know you're a fan at the end of Oceans of the snakeskin shirt that Brad Pitt.
Yes, yeah. I think
Um,
that's probably, I don't know, maybe the most famous Anto shirt. Whenever I think
it's
of
the most
Anto,
it's the most unique, right? Like
yeah,
so when they make a movie and somebody's playing a politician and he wears a white shirt with a standard placket and like round button cuffs, okay, it fits him great, but it's a pretty basic plain shirt. You wouldn't recognize it. But that snakeskin shirt, you're never going to see that anywhere else.
right.
I actually asked them about it recently to see if they can replicate it. And they can make it again, and they can make it in your measurements, my measurements. They can do that. The problem is that Jeffrey Kurland, the costume designer, actually sourced the snakes and he gave the skin to Anto. So they don't have the snake skin on hand.
Ah, what? So he went out and killed the snakes himself, and
No,
then
I think he probably just bought snake. That's the way you buy leather.
right. I see. I see. Yeah, I did some research on Curtin today. He's a nutty guy. He does everything kind of between him and his tailor almost. So I mean,
Yeah,
if you ever see like, was it Mission Impossible? Was it
yeah. He did
Ghost?
Fallout. He
He did
did
Fallout.
Collateral with Tom Cruise before that.
Yeah,
He did Inception. I forget Tenet. He did that one too.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. He's his Nolan's go-to guy now. And
Yeah.
what going off the grass a little bit, but there's a tailor that I think he uses. So he
Mhm.
kind of designs them all, but then gets a tailor to obviously make them. But I think he's just got like his one guy that does it all. Do
Yeah,
you
it's
remember his
Dennis
name?
Kim. Yeah.
That's it. What's it?
Mhm.
Sorry, what's his name? Something.
Dennis Kim. K-I-M.
Dennis Kim.
Mhm.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. That's the guy that we need to get on the phone. No offense.
Oh, I
It's
agree. Yeah,
great talking to you, but we
I've
need
been
to.
trying to get in touch with him too. I no luck so far.
Yeah, well, him and Curland are absolutely nowhere online, so it is that much harder. But anyway, I
Yeah,
digress.
back to Anto. The experience shopping with them, by the way, it's all family affair. If you just email them, the main customer service guy and business development sales, it's Anthony, who is Anto's grandson. He's Ken's son. Great guy, younger, probably around 30. And he coordinates everything. And he's really the main point of contact. Um,
Right.
so it really is all done in LA by that family to this day. And they deal with everybody, like really anyone that you can think of.
And
I'll
are
go through
they?
a list.
Yeah, yeah. In a sec. Yeah. Are they actual shirt makers themselves? Do you know?
So Ken definitely is. I think Jack understands it very well.
Mm,
Anthony, though, like I said, he's younger. He's only been there a couple years. I don't
right.
think he knows all the ins and outs of actual production. But you can talk about movies at least.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, either or. So I was going to ask. I mean, for people that have obviously seen Ocean's 11, but what other shirts, maybe iconic shirts or iconic films that have been related with the brand Anto?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Let's start with some of the big names here. Um, like Pacino, De Niro. They did the shirts for Heat, man.
Oh, God
They
love
did.
him. God
Yeah.
love him.
They did Casino as well. Let's see, what are some of the Inception
Wow.
we just mentioned? There Will Be Blood, La La Land. I mentioned Robert Redford before. Many of his films he's wearing it, but maybe some of the best looking ones are like An Indecent Proposal or
Oh, fucking love
Havana.
that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Michael Douglas. They did The Game. They did this one surprised me. They actually did Fight Club. That makes sense. Just
Really?
in that. Yeah,
Oh, because Kurland, is it? No, it's Kaplan, I think, does the costumes for
I'm not sure
Fight
on that
Club.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
but
Kaplan.
they've done like if you look at some of their newer stuff too, they've done every franchise I can think of, like the Avengers, X Men, Batman, Superman, Spider Man. All the men.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but like yeah, Mission Impossible, Fallout. They actually done a lot of Tom Cruise's films. Let's see, Jurassic World, the last Indiana Jones. You can go in there and just say you want Harrison Ford's, Indiana Jones shirt from Crystal Skull. They made that.
Oh, how
Uh,
do you
uh,
how do you know? Do you get this from being in the vault and having a rifle through?
no, you can find it in various sources. There are a few articles and stuff. They don't do much press themselves, but they get written. They get written about, fairly frequently.
So, from what I've gathered, I think that they're honestly, this is just, I've got nothing to back this up. I think they're just too busy moving forward and laying down track. As in, like if you're kind of writing about it and being retrospective and trying to do
Mhm.
your own PR, then you can perhaps do all of it. And if you've got time to do all of it, then you would. But if you're just
Mhm.
fucking making shirts, taking orders,
That's the
making
thing.
money, trying to please customers, getting shirts out on time, trying to fill production orders, you don't have time to fix error codes on your site, and why would you?
Exactly.
You're just plowing forward. So I do
I know
feel.
we've tried to get them on the show here together, but they're literally always at full tilt. They're always working.
I
Uh,
bet they are.
when
Yeah.
like I said, I visited Sherman Oaks, and it's like 50 machines running constantly, making these.
Right.
And and it's not just like big productions. They're doing the smaller indie stuff, a lot of stuff that a lot of period stuff. Like I remember one from a couple years ago was The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
Mhm.
It's a very cool vintage looking shirts that they just worked with the costume department. They figured it out.
That's really cool. Well, we're going to probably jump over to the YouTube shortly because Ken's
Mhm.
got some of the shirts. He's going to do an unboxing for us, some other bits and bobs from the Oceans films. Ken is going to show us. Uh, I was going to ask you, do you think that they'll ever do a run of a particular shirt and associate it to a film? Have you discussed that with
Excellent
them?
question. Yeah. So Jack and I were talking a little while ago when I was there. He actually asked me if I'd seen House of Gucci. I said, yeah. Oh, you must have made the shirts. The shirts are the best part of that movie. But um, they've worked with a lot of huge names: Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington. My favorite late night host, Conan O'Brien. And they have thought almost a lot of their business. I don't know the percentages. They do a ready to wear line, but it's not much of their business. The vast majority is bespoke. But you have to get measured. You can send in your own measurements. They can make it for you from afar. But most people come in, get measured in Los Angeles to have it made. Jack was saying though, to expand the business, they're thinking about doing what they call the leading man collection, right? And so you could walk in and say, I want Bradley Cooper's shirt from Limitless, right? Or De Niro's shirt from Heat. And they can do the research and make it for you like a one-off, but why not just make a few hundred of them in different sizes and ready to wear sizes, and then
Right.
you can buy them on the website. They can ship them anywhere. This again, it's a great idea. I don't know how you do the licensing because I don't think the studios would kind of get into it, but
Yeah, yeah.
so it'd be a little tricky there. But I think it's a great idea. I know that they're always kind of running behind on orders, so that's why it hasn't taken off yet. But hopefully, it's something we see soon.
Well, I mean, how they would do it would be to do a series or a category on their site called Leading Man and just put the
Yeah.
shirts up and then just name them Macaulay. All right. And people will
Oh,
just,
yeah.
you won't have to put a picture of De Niro next to the shirt.
Right, right.
I do wonder how exclusive it would be to people. Like, for example, when I go to Frank Foster and I get a shirt made,
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's kind of 99% accurate to the bolt, the actual
Yeah,
bolt.
yeah.
The fabric will be about 50 years old. It will be the one that Roger Moore wore in Live and Let Die, guaranteed.
Right, right. Yeah, I've seen the
So
tree.
without the bolt, without kind of like, if they're doing a ready to wear version of this,
Mm-hmm.
you might have the cut, the look, but it's not the exact fabric. So I
So
do wonder
some
if that, yeah,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, sorry. So some stuff is kind of evergreen. Like Thomas Mason may make it forever. Like a white broadcloth or something like that. So
Right.
if it's something like, let's say the Macaulay shirt that De Niro wears, maybe that one, it's a pretty plain white dress shirt. So maybe that is a fabric that's evergreen, and they can get more of exactly the same material. Others, and I've dealt with this just trying to replicate shirts from the Ocean's films. Some are close and they're made by the same mill, but this is like the new version of it. But others are exact. I remember I went in one time and I just wanted just an off-white cream shirt. I've got it on the rack here. I'll show them that. But it's got a basic diamond weave on it. I just asked, like, I'm looking for an off-white, kind of cream. And Jack showed me about 3 different fabrics. And he was like, oh, wait, you like George Clooney. Hold on. And it goes around the back and he comes back and he's like, this one he wore in Ocean's 11. And I was like, oh, it's sold. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I love that. Listen, we're going to run out of time. You've got a hard out and we've got to get on to seeing some cool garments. So listen, Ken, where can people find you online? Where do you like to hang out?
Oh, they can always find me at Oceanographer on Instagram. That's Oceanographer with an S in the middle. And occasionally I write an article for my friend Nick Guzan over at Bamf Style. Follow them for sure. Great resource.
Awesome. Doing the Lord's work. Thanks, Ken. Really enjoyed that.
Absolutely, Pete. It's great
All
talking
right.
to you.